Welcome again to another episode of Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. I am your host, Lionel McDonald. So this episode is long overdue. I've tried to get this guy on probably for the balance of at least 6 months. It feels like 2 years. When I scripted all of the guests that I wanted to have, he was in the first 10. It's just taken a long time to get this guy on the podcast. He is arguably one of the hardest working and busy people that I know. We know him as an MC. We know him as a family man, a street fashion trendsetter. There's so many layers to this guy. Literally, and him and I, for those that don't know, we worked together several years ago. And I arguably could say that he is maybe the most fascinating person I've ever met. And there's the world's most interesting man. He may be Canada's most interesting man. Here we have on today's podcast Patrik Kabongo, aka we call him PK. What's good, my brother?
First off, I just want to say to the people listening, you guys know him as Lionel McDonald. I know him as OG Mac. All right. This is one of the favorite people on earth. Someone who's pushed me to a very important part of adulthood. So first off, I just got to give you full props and thanks to that. I'm doing great, man. It's been, like you said, a long time coming to be on this show. Just our conversations always go all over the place. So I'm just enjoying the fact that we get to finally see each other face to face after so long. We get to have a conversation. And man, what a platform to be on to have that discussion.
Now, I'm so glad to have you. So I think before we go in any further, we have to address the elephant in the room, and that is my extremely hoarse voice. So for those that don't know, it was released on today's podcast because I recorded it on Saturday night. When I start talking about some top fives of 22, as I try to put a bow on that and move forward. Yesterday went to the Bills game. You can see that I'm still wearing a blue Bills t-shirt for those that are watching on YouTube. It's also going to be available obviously on Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio if you listen to that, and obviously on Apple Podcasts. But went to the Bills game, did a lot of cheering. Bills found a way to squeak out the win. We had season ticket holders literally willing to leave the stadium in the middle of the third quarter, and I had to talk them off a ledge. So this is what I do as a fan or someone that is now on a bandwagon, the Bills bandwagon, because my team is out. But you got to do what you got to do, and when I'm all in 110%. So a lot of fun, but I did lose a little bit of my voice, and I'm still good enough that I can project, and we can have this podcast, thank God, to my Rode microphone that, you'll be able to hear me loud and clear. But let's get into the interview. Again, long overdue, PK. I'm so glad 100%. That you're on. So,
oh man,
I think, I think of like, and when I start thinking about this interview today, I think about there's a clip from the beginning of the Underground tape. So that's Socrates' debut album, and he was supposed to be on CKLN, the Power Move show, and it's the same thing. You know him, I know you. It just took forever to get you on the pod. It was like you're almost like my Pokeroo, but here you are. You're on today. I'm going to get it cracking. So,
100%.
Obviously, we for I know about your meteoric rise to stardom now as a hip hop artist. But some people don't know the background to yourself, and how did hip hop kind of come to be and be a part of your life?
So the funny story about my history with hip hop is I got into it extremely late, relatively speaking, for an MC or someone who dives into rap, hip hop, tries to be, I'd say, have a profession in that genre. And so I know for sure the most monumental artist I have in my head right now is Heavy D. Like, I got introduced to Heavy D at some point, and I always admired the swagger, the charisma, the persona. And the truth is, a lot of times growing up, when you see someone who's overweight, there's always this connotation of like making fun of them and they're losers or all these different things. And to be young growing up and seeing a man in that stature moving the way he's moving, the songs he was making, the way he was speaking, I found it very enticing, and I found a strong liking into him. But where I would say I kind of dived into hip hop that really that helped me gravitate to wanting to write music. I start with like Lil Bow Wow, Lil Romeo, which I find are like two interesting artists because I never really felt like they represented the entirety of hip hop as what it was that I wanted to be part of. But you know, when you're young, you see these young guys rapping and coming their claim to fame. But I'd say in my teenagers, guys like Jay-Z, Nas, oddly Grand Puba as well. I got introduced to Grand Puba, which I never talk about a lot, but if we're going to talk about an artist who has a way with words, MC who has a way to take control of a song, he's one of those guys that I put up there. And obviously, you know, Ice Cube, Ice T. So I had a various amount of artists and rappers that I paid attention to. But then the lifestyle they had was so different to what I knew at a certain time and age, and so I gravitated a lot towards Jay-Z. I felt he was very his bravado in the way he spoke about things felt extremely intellectual for someone from the projects. And so I'd say my cousin BB, my twin brother CK, watching them freestyle at the age of 13 to 14, I just admired that they knew how to rap off the top, which I know you know that's a very, very difficult skill to have. And so being able to learn how to do that for myself was always great. And so I'd say when I really started loving hip hop was around maybe 12, 13, 14. So I got into it really late, but there's always elements of rap that were around me at the time. So that would be, I guess, like the background story. And then after that, I just kind of took note of what I liked, what I didn't like, what I admired, what was important to the game, what was a necessity to have as a characteristic to my own rap styles. And then I just kind of took off from there and just still learning every day and just going back also to some classics too.
Wow, I think that was just so amazing to hear because I've talked to several MCs. I've talked to a lot of people that love rap and hip hop as a culture. And I don't think I've ever heard anyone reference Grand Puba and Heavy
Oh
D
man.
as
Oh man.
gateway MCs. But I can totally see why, because
Yeah.
both of them are incredibly unique, you know, from Heavy D and his sound, but the ability to dance like literally dance like Kane, but look
Exactly.
totally different and do it
Exactly.
in his own way. And then yeah, you anytime Grand Puba was on a track, you definitely took note of what he was saying, whether
You
it was with
knew.
Brand Nubian or
Yep.
he was doing a track. You know, he did skins with Pete Rock and CL, or
Yep.
he did his own stuff. You know, he did 2000 and you know,
360. I like
Real to
it.
Real, like that was
Yeah.
his debut album when he split with Brand Nubian.
Mm.
Those are two classics, right? And actually, I'm listening to another podcast which is arguably the best. And as much as I love my own,
Yeah.
um, Take It Personal Radio, and I'm giving them a shameless plug, is like my new favorite podcast because they
That's real.
DJ and they talk about artists. And I've listened to 3 episodes, and they found a way to get an artist that I was dying to have on this podcast, which is Cool G Rap, because I think his
Oh.
influence on so many people.
Oh
And I
man.
reached out and I put him on via Instagram and via email, and I never heard back. But when I
Yeah.
heard the first episode or second episode, because it was a Most Def tribute, but when
Yeah.
I heard that they got him, it was amazing. But they dig into the classics. I'm listening to an episode now on 93, and you're touching a lot on some 93
Man.
gems with Heavy D and Grand Puba. So
It's crazy too. That it slipped my mind. I forget. Obviously, I want Gangstar is obviously monumental, but just not to take anything away from Premier, but just Guru himself as an individual. Yeah, like there's something very peculiar about him. When I go back now and I listen to him, he was very uplifting in his raps, and I don't think a lot of people took notice to that as much as the grittiness, the yo, it's me again. Back, it's like his flow is so it's almost maliciously beautiful, you know.
yeah,
And I think Premier's cuts is what emphasize his style so much. And so obviously there's them, and then I got to give it to Big Daddy Kane, like one of the smoothest cats on the mic. You know, literally
absolutely.
even like performance wise. So I would say those are definitely, for me, those are my pioneers, and it's to not definitely take away anything from the other OGs that preceded them. But like I remember OG Mariano had given me a book. It's called the Rap Book of the Year, and it has the most monumental rap songs. I think starting from the 70s or maybe the 80s all the way down to the 2012s. And every now and then I go back to, I'm like, yo, it's true. This song was a classic. But at the same time, I feel like as hip hop has exploded and has grown, some things kind of feel outdated, but not to be dismissed, because
Yeah.
if there wasn't that to be established, the foundation would be nowhere to be, created from. So yeah, shout out to them. I had to give love to Gangstar, especially Guru and Daddy Kane.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. So you mentioned obviously now Kane and Guru as an MC, both or as part of Gangstar. You also mentioned I mentioned Cool G Rap because he
Yep.
literally touched everyone that started doing mafioso rap, from AZ to Nas to AZ, you name it. He had an influence. Like, he was the blueprint. And then obviously you mentioned, Heavy D and Grand Puba. So I'm not sure if any one of those are, but who was kind of the first person that you really heard that made you consider wanting to rap?
Oof. It'd have to be between Heavy D and Ice Cube.
Okay.
Yeah, it had to be Heavy D and Ice Cube. Heavy D, a lot of it wasn't just the rap; it was the optics, like the
Yeah.
imagery. How's this guy moving like this? How is he? Like, how do you move and groove like that
Yeah.
with your stature? It's impressive, right? Um, but then Ice Cube, which, fun fact for anyone who doesn't know, my favorite song of all time, a rap song of all time, is "Today Was a Good Day." Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear no slander about that song ever, and I had a chance to listen to the original where he sampled it from yesterday on this playlist that a friend had, and it made me love the song even more. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'd say those two, but I want to give Heavy. I'll give it to Heavy D, because if I didn't see the optics, I wouldn't have been infatuated with the idea of doing the same thing. But a lot of my musical love to kind of do music came from my dad and all the Congolese music we listened to.
Okay. So that's an interesting piece. So, like, were you exposed to it at a really early age? And what was your initial impression?
So the initial impression, definitely for Heavy D, like I said before, was just the optics. I was as a kid, having a twin brother, you kind of battle with the idea of, am I the one that gets, like, do I get looked at more than my other brother, and all these weird thoughts. And like I said, when you're young and you're someone who has more weight than the average human, people typically like pick on you. They think you're ugly, you're all these different things that society has made normal for people that are overweight. And as a kid, seeing this guy, I'm like, yo, this guy's the coolest man on the planet. Like, who cares about his weight? And the confidence is just spewing from it. And so
Yeah.
with that, so I never had the chance to listen to his music so much, because in our house, as crazy as it is, our parents didn't listen to rap. Like we had immigrant parents that had just come from Congo, going to the States, coming to Canada. So we never had rap in our house until I think like our early teenage years, right? So then the music I listened to a lot of it was like Congolese music that my dad would play in the car, play in the house, like bands like Zaiko Langa Langa, Papa Wemba, Weta Sun, all these different people who were very influential in the music landscape from Congo and like internationally. So I fell in love with the musicality outside of rap. I fell in love with the wordplay, words, sentences, the composition of poetry with rap. And that I definitely give or attribute to Heavy D enticing me to learn more, but even more so Ice Cube for presenting a style of rap that I think fit what I enjoyed at the time.
Yeah. Again, you talk about Ice Cube now, and Ice Cube is definitely one of those, as though, many can get hung up on the language and the aggressiveness of his rap, but he's an incredibly intelligent man.
100%.
And how he conveys what is happening in America, particularly in his, call it his heyday. Now, I wouldn't say that his heyday is over, because he's still putting out, he's still putting out quality pieces 30 years later. But to really think about his heyday in 91 and 92, America's Most Wanted and Death Certificate, just to name two, was probably his two best, along with Predator and then you get into the world of Lethal Injection. Maybe that's kind of a tier down, but there's so many things to like about that album. So I think there's a lot. There's a lot there, and there's a lot of thought-provoking conversations. Like, I still think of one of my favorite songs is technically not even an Ice Cube song. It's a Public Enemy song. But it's Ice Cube's verse. It's Burn Hollywood Burn, the one with Kane and Ice Cube, but it's on Public Enemy's album Fear of a Black Planet. And they just talk about, stereotypical roles that, Black people are given versus now you fast forward 30 years and look at the roles that Ice Cube and, you can say what you want about Will Smith now, but Will Smith is arguably one of the most decorated actors that we've seen in the last 25 years.
Thank you. He doesn't get his roses because he doesn't look like what hip hop looked like and sounded like for the longest time.
Yes.
But I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's the first rapper to win a Grammy, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, parents just don't understand.
So it's like, I don't know. He's in anyways, I won't make it too much about him, but I appreciate a lot that you brought him up, because I think he gave a platform to a lot of a style of rap. Like, the fact that he never cursed, never said the N-word. I feel I identify a lot with that, because I don't cuss in my music. I don't say the N-word anymore. And sometimes you have to navigate through, especially what the music industry looks like now, where rap has become more popish, more melodic.
Yeah.
Hip hop's identity is kind of becoming mixed blended with a lot of different sounds. So for him at that time to be so popular, to be so beloved, the samples, the songs, it's just nuts. By the way, I was watching an interview earlier today, and I found out that apparently Nas co-wrote or wrote "Welcome to Miami" for him.
Yeah, I don't know if that's 100% confirmed.
Yeah,
but Nas had, from what we gather from multiple sources, Nas had a hand in how that song was written. So did he actually write bar for bar, or did he write
like a top line or something?
Or did he like, hey, don't shape this phrase like this, and you need to flow like this?
Yeah.
We need Nas to actually speak on it, but there is so much, like, ghostwriting is a whole different topic we could go on forever. And we know that Hove is ghostwritten. Apparently, people wrote for Nas on there was an MC that wrote Rare or parts of Rare or helped shape Rare. So there's levels of what ghostwriting looks like, and arguably the best ghostwriter is Skills. Because Skills wrote for everyone. If you didn't know, go Google Skills or Mad Skills ghostwrite, and you will see a track list that will blow your mind on how many songs he's gone on it. And he touched a little bit on Drink Champs when he was on, but it's well documented that this is, like, I would tell you, he is the GOAT of ghostwriting.
Holy, this list is nuts. Not that the Abstract Volume 1. Holy, okay.
Dude has a pen and a half.
Keep the Sneak. That's funny. I'm not even familiar with his work, but I love that he has I think it's a song, he has an album called Confessions of a Ghostwriter. Yeah. That
says it all. No one has written an album and called it about ghostwriting. It's a thing. So,
oh no.
So you touch on a really interesting topic that I just don't want us to not address. So
Absolutely.
you talk about, we just talked about Ice Cube, and then you talked about
Hmm.
language, and you don't say the N word, you don't swear. Like, how has that been received by, call it, your fellow rap peers, and then
Hmm.
how has that also been received by the public? Like, because again, I
So,
obviously, we know in this day and age, yes, to play something commercial is one
mm,
thing, to play it on a radio, to get it radio play, and that always becomes a debate. Oh,
yeah,
hey, is there an edited version that we can play?
yeah, a
You
clean
kind of
version, everything.
skip that piece. Um, but then also, you think of some of the greats that have been out there. You think of, the first person I think is there is countless songs done by Rakim that he doesn't
Yeah,
verse. Period.
yeah,
So
yeah.
where did your inspiration? Is it your household? And I know,
Mm.
you know, being from Congo, there's many that are very religious. You'd have to tell me where you kind of sit in that spectrum. But
Yeah.
what kind of inspired you to take the angle of not cursing in your rhymes?
So, and just to be fully transparent, so I used to cuss. I wouldn't say a lot, but I used to cuss my music. I'd say around 2018, 2019 is when I stopped,
Yeah.
and even stopped saying the N word as well. And not even just in music, but just in rhetoric. Like I found I didn't want to have this selective hypocrisy with the word itself. Um, and I just felt at points it felt that I could understand like how would my ancestors feel me trying to empower something that I feel personally could still be used to damage my identity, and so and that's another discussion that we could all have for years to come. It could be subjective as well, but for sure, just getting closer in my faith, my relationship with Yahweh, and the way I read the Bible, and understanding the commandments of not using foul language or profanity. And at first, I used to look at it as, okay, I shouldn't cuss at people, I shouldn't say mean things to people, and then it kind of became this behavior that just became almost spiritually, systematically habitual. Like I didn't want to, if I was going to act a certain way in life, I wanted that to translate to my music, and I want to be as authentic to my music as I am in real life, because I don't want to deassociate myself as an artist because I'm an individual beforehand on everything else. And so, definitely the fact that in our household we didn't use profanity, I didn't want to, uh, I don't not honor my parents, but I didn't want to bring that energy in the household,
Yeah.
and growing up in the projects, you have that so much already outside when you grow up with your friends, maybe other friends' parents, other kids that you interact with socially. And so I'd say definitely just getting more in tune with my faith, reading the Bible more, understanding the power of words, and not wasting a breath saying things. And just I just feel intellectually, if I can find words to replace it, that sentiment that I have that could be like the F word or like the N word, I find that helps me expand my vocabulary as well. So it became
Mhm.
a very technical thing, but so far for my peers, I don't think it affects them. The only part where it does is when I work with other artists. If an artist wants to, for example, book me for a feature, the first thing I would say is, okay, like one, I got to pray about it. Two, if we have this discussion, I prefer to not have any content that is degrading to first my people, two, to what I'm trying to build as a social sphere for uplifting people, progressing past the, drugs, money, sex, guns, discourse, and then just something that just authentic enough to to push publicly and worldwide, right? And to the public, which is great that you actually brought it up. I've had a lot of hidden commercial success. Like when I do sync licensing, which I've gotten a lot of success in the last couple of months, where NFL teams will use my song to put on like their social media pages. The NBA will do it, MLB will do it, CBC will do it. All these different media platforms. I never have the issue of we can't really contact this artist because his content is this. And
Yeah.
when I work with producers and composers that connect with me, like, hey, we want you to rap on a song, we want you to do that. Even when I had the chance to do the TikTok campaign where I did the song for High End that got played during the NBA Finals, I don't think that if I would have had a song that wasn't clean, the process would have been as smooth. I
Yeah.
feel they could have said, you know what, this might be too much of a back and forth. Let's go with something else. And obviously I attribute a lot of that to God himself, but I felt it was so true to who I am. It's kind of that same discourse of people will see me with a whole bunch of tattoos until they speak to me and they're like, whoa, okay, this is a different type of guy. And I feel my music has that too. I've learned over a past period, I'm an acquired taste when it comes to music.
Yeah.
I give a little bit of everything, and I also permit myself to not give what everybody wants to hear because I know that music is spiritual. I know that it can encourage you. It can bring you down. It could build you up. It could tear you down. And so I don't want to use my gift and my voice sonically for anything I don't believe kind of goes with my vision. And so far, I've had a lot of success, and to do that as an independent artist is the most important thing for me as well.
Oh, you touched on so many great things, but I think the big takeaway that I have is, and it just reaffirms from the day that I met you, like, geez, I remember I walked down to Queen Street, we're trying to open this foot action store. Everyone's saying, hey, you got to get this guy. He needs to work in foot action. And I
Yeah.
go down to Queen Street and find this guy. He's the loudest guy in the store. He's chopping it up with everyone. Like he's got 3 different conversations going on, and they're all seamless and they're all flawless. And it's like, hey, let's go for a walk. Let's talk about what I'm trying to do here down the road
100%.
in the mall. And we proceed to walk down Queen Street. And I want to say there was about 7 different people from different stores that saw you, popped out, waved, or they were staying at the corner waiting for the light. And like these are all, I'm going like, how? This guy he knows so many different people from walks of life. But that
100%.
day I really realized, and it stays true to today and will
Yeah,
stay true to you to the day that you leave this earth, is
absolutely.
that you are 100% authentic. You know your lane, you don't
Hmm.
deviate from your lane, and that's what makes you so special.
I
And
appreciate
I
that.
really thoroughly enjoy, and I've taken some time to listen to your music, and what's what makes you so different than everything else that's out there right now.
I appreciate that for real. And I'm gonna like a lot of people, we live in a society now where people are caught up, especially in, if I could say, like the hip hop sphere of the music industry. A lot of people get caught so much with other people's success and what everyone else is doing. And so I just I'm just enjoying the process so much
Yeah.
and growing as a person in music. So that's where my feet stand.
Yeah, I hear you that. So you mentioned before that you got before we started recording that you've
Mm,
obviously put some projects together. I think
yep.
really it's so fascinating the way that the music industry is now, because it's
Mm,
no longer an album industry, it's a singles
yeah.
industry. You can
Yeah.
put out singles and singles and singles, and then some people get to the point of making an EP, and then
Yeah.
eventually maybe you only have 1 or 2 that you get to
Yeah.
the point of making a full length long
Album.
version album.
Yeah.
So maybe you and I think it's like, oh, do we talk about singles? Maybe we talk about both, because he's got lots of singles, lots of different content to talk about. But
Yeah.
you know, and I know it technically, and when I looked it up on Spotify or I looked it up on Apple,
Yeah.
your album from 2018, Spadina,
Yes,
qualifies
sir.
qualifies as an EP, but let's treat it as your first album. So what was the process like of putting that together? Like when you started stringing some songs out, you had some people
Yeah.
listening, you started to do some shows, and I know you're out there because I
Mhm.
remember you asking me for days off, and it's like, dog, like you're rapping? When did you tell me you were a rapper? And it was like, when is the show? And it's like it just didn't work
Yeah.
with my schedule. I had other commitments in
Yeah.
other parts of Ontario. But when I heard you were a rapper, then it was like, hey, where's the music? And it's like, well, he's got
Yeah.
singles. And then all of a sudden I catch wind that there's an album. It's called Spadina. How fitting, because this
Mhm.
guy was at Queen and Spadina
Yeah,
all day, every day, graffiti alley, black market, you name it. Like
yeah,
I was running
yeah.
the streets, but in a good way.
Yeah.
So tell us how you kind of put together that project.
So it's funny. So you'll know this. So I actually am working on my first actual full length album.
Yeah.
I've been working on it for the last, I'd say, 3 years, and I keep putting it a little bit to the back burner because I have all these ideas for projects that I want to put out that I don't want to lose all that energy on. So with Spadina is, I would say, I want to say it's my favorite project because it's my first actual project outside of mixtapes that I had released prior.
Yeah.
Um, and just what it represents to me, I was very inspired by the late Nipsey Hussle's Project Crenshaw, where he managed to explain a story, a very vivid story about his upbringing, the trials, the success, and where he's at now and what he's trying to accomplish. And I kind of not took that recipe, but that recipe was very appealing to me. And so what I did is I made a lot of songs with keeping in mind that I was transitioning from Toronto to Montreal. And then it became, when I got to Montreal, this project was me paying homage to the city that raised me and the neighborhood, the street that I identified the most with as a downtown kid. You know, I've been a downtown kid for my entire life, and that was always important to me. And so I made that EP feeling very happy, like the community, from working on Queen Street's Foot Locker, doing foot action, um, getting into my first fight, getting jumped there, all these different things that I've never spoke about in music. I always made songs that were really outside the relation of what it was to me. There was less vulnerability than I wanted to add in. And then, being able to do my listening party at Brims, shout out to Jack, shout out to Dre, and just selling out the whole place, having it packed with people from Foot Locker, people from uptown, from people from other neighborhoods in the east and the west, and it was just such a perfect circle moment for me. And so that project holds so dear to my heart. Shout out to Chaos, who I ended up paying homage to as well with the Sunday morning chorus.
Yeah,
He's one of my favorite.
Dope.
Oh man, he's my favorite artist. Yeah, I can't even explain how much he's important to my landscape of hip hop as well. But just doing that and being able to coordinate certain songs, like I had friends do certain parts of the song, like, hey, can you say this? And doing the titles for the songs are amazing, like Speaker's Corner, and just thinking about the times that I would go there. I would literally go to Speaker's Corner just to talk, so that at night I could see if they ended up taking my video, and I was like, that never worked. So it was cool, and then I think a year after the Raptors won a championship, or I think 2 years after, which was like another full circle moment, and so it was cool. It was a very important, and is an important project that I have up to date, and so I always look back at that for what I want to emulate in terms of how vulnerable I want to be, how authentic I need to keep my music, and how important it is also to keep making projects and not just putting out singles. So
yeah,
you got to play the field, play the game a little bit. But Spadina EP, man, my greatest accomplishment, other than getting married, obviously.
yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
definitely.
She's listening in the background, right?
Oh,
So
come on.
you got to get it right. Because I'm
It's
sure the
definitely one
cut
of
eye
my
would have
man.
flashed across the
Oh
room
man.
if you didn't put that plug in.
It went a black screen interview cut right off the rip. No, but it's, yeah. So that project is very important, and just that's when I really build my team to its full foundation, and just the hard work that not even just I put in it, but everybody put in it. It was my first time like paying for a beat and owning a beat. Like there were so many, my first press run. There were so many firsts that I had with that it just motivated me so much. And I thank downtown Toronto for the rest of my life. And I'm Toronto at heart, no matter what. So it's been great seeing that project also flourish still this day. But I definitely got to do something as like a remembrance for that project as well.
Okay. Well, you could remix the whole thing, and I think we
It's
all would be
true.
happy with that. And we could get
It's
Spadina
that's
the remix.
the remix.
So I think at the same time you also mention and it kind of it really just struck me that your roots and where you were born and raised is Toronto, but Montreal in your life is part of the equation. So you currently now live in Montreal.
Sure.
Tell us about the transition, and how have you think your music has been received now you
Oh
being in
man.
Montreal?
Yeah, so it's crazy. I'm born here and I was raised in Toronto,
Yeah.
which is always a very weird uh when people do media with me, it's like, oh, so where are you from? Man, I'm from Toronto. Like, are you born? Yeah, yeah, I'm born here, but I'm from Toronto. I identify with where my behavioral patterns were established
Right.
and where I've had the most impactful um experience, which is Toronto, because I moved there when I was really young and we kept coming back and forth at a young age. But one thing I'm very thankful for about the transitioning went extremely well. Like from obviously getting the promotion to come here to Foot Locker and work there, and the staff were already really excited to have me. But then just from a music aspect, it opened my creative mind tenfold. And I don't know if it's because I was on my own and I had to figure things out, but I felt that's something that I wish I would have been able to experience in Toronto, but I don't regret experiencing it here. I had a chance to go to like open mics on different communities of artists. Obviously, because I speak the language as well, that gave me access to, you know, producers, engineers, singers, other rappers, and I kind of built uh, a community of people I work with. Like, you know, a lot of my videos are shot here. A lot of the videographers I work with are from here, and I got my first creative director job here. I got um, deeply more into the aspect of fashion. I learned more about what I admire about fashion, what I grossly detest from fashion. All these, it's like my creative taste buds recognize what I love, what I don't like, how I can push myself further, what I should stay away from. And I think I gained a lot of discernment musically and sonically that I think maybe I wouldn't have had garnished in Toronto as soon as I did here, because I still had a comfortable hub,
You're
right?
right.
Like my manager is like my manager, my team, my creative team, my video guys. There's always there's always someone to figure it out for me. And me just growing up as a kid, I've always been in French they say astucieux, like just really resourceful. And so I feel like I made a way out here. And the public here, I've gotten a lot of great feedback. I still think there's more that can be done. Like my next goal is to perform at as many festivals here as possible. And so now we're working on that. And I've been connecting with a lot of festival organizers to get me booked for those. So I'm really excited to see what the summer is going to bring.
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of that was going to be a question down the road, but
Mm-hmm.
let's address that now. So, obviously you've done the concert scene, and then,
Mm-hmm.
then the pandemic came, it was, yes, concert scene during the Spadina release, and then a couple
Yeah.
singles, and then
Yeah.
Lord comes the pandemic. But then where are you at now? Like, where do you kind of sit on the spectrum of wanting to perform? Are you comfortable performing?
Oh
Um,
man.
I don't know if you've been out there, but and then what is the summer like? What is 2023 kind of hold for you?
So 2023, I'm organizing. For me, performance is the most natural thing. Like it's even more natural than writing songs. Like I just
Right.
that's something that I know in the confidence that I hold for myself, I'm extremely great at. Like I'm a very engaging performer. I take my performances extremely seriously. Whether it's 300 to 400 people to 15 to 30, I'm gonna perform all the same because my my performance is a reflection of who I am, not how many people are in the crowd, right?
Right.
And so for performing, I'm always ready, stay ready, no need to get ready. But right now, because I've dabbled into just being really great at creative direction. I'm working on a lot of projects, working on a lot of creative projects, campaigns that I'm working on pitching to major brands, working closely with a Montreal based music hub or creative hub, helping them with a little bit of creative direction. And then I'm going to release a couple of pieces from collections that I'm working on separately, and I can't give too much information about that. But
Okay.
you and
Okay.
I will have a conversation about it on the low low. But
Fair enough.
yeah, and it's been amazing, just the feedback I've been getting, the knowledge that I've been permitted to receive and gain access to. There's always a lot more work to be done, but I'm very excited to, just I'm in a place now where I feel my main priority is to give back to the community, whether it's directly my own community, indirectly others' community, but just a community of people that are involved in helping me progress in my music and my creative endeavors. And I think it's important. And then just trying to find a way to also collaborate with my wife who paints and working on little things like that. But music is doing well. I'm just looking. I just want to travel a bit more. I just want to travel a bit
Okay.
more, network with people a bit more. But I have some shows that I'm putting together for the summer, and when I get those dates lined up, I'm gonna make sure to put that out there for people to know so they can come in and get a taste
Yeah,
of
we
the
definitely
vibes.
want to get a taste. We definitely want to chop it up and see you do your thing, because I think knowing you as a person and
Mm,
how you walk with this incredible level of energy and excitement and zest for life, I
yeah,
can totally see that you're truly in your element when you're on stage and you're
a
performing. So
100%, 100%.
so let's change gears, because we're going to talk a little bit now about sneakers and a little bit about fashion. So
Yes,
speaking of
sir.
fashion, for those that are watching on YouTube, I'm wearing a couple sample pieces. The merch store will be coming soon. So I'm wearing this Project Live hat. Shameless plug. I have the hoodie on. There's a t-shirt as well, which will be widely available in the near future. So stay tuned for those. PK, definitely when you are on stage, we will have to get you
Oh
have you
man,
get you some swag and
yes, sir.
kind of show the pod a little bit of love. But
I got you.
let's talk sneakers. So
Okay. Woo-hoo.
as much as you are an MC, we
Yeah,
know part of the portfolio is there is a certain aesthetic or style that you like when it comes to sneakers. So where
yeah.
did your sneaker love kind of start in your early years?
So at the age of, I believe I want to say 9 or 10. Um, yeah, I think 9 or 10. My twin brother and I got Jordan 13s,
Mm,
um, red, white. That green, that holographic green ball. Till this day, I thought it was the most sane thing to look at. And like being into Power Rangers, like a lot of things just feel
yeah.
more glamorized. So when I looked at that shoe, and it was one of our cousins who got it, and we begged our parents like, we want them, please, please buy them for us. And so it was definitely that shoe there that I fell in love with sneakers. And even as I got older, and you start to meet people like yourself, or guys like Kevin Ramos, or guys like Mariano, like Brian Chalmers, all these people. When I started realizing, like, yo, these are real sneakerheads. Like, I gotta understand the game a bit more, because I realized I'm a sneaker enthusiast and avid appreciator, because without the kicks, there's no fit. Like, there's no
Yeah.
outfit without the kicks. Like, so yeah, no, the Jordan 13s, man, shout out to them for stamping me with the want to get into the game.
Yeah.
That's definitely where it starts.
That's a great gateway shoe, and I know that shoe. I had that shoe. That was
Yeah.
probably my one, two. Probably I think it was the third Jordan that I ever had. I still remember it was like came out in January. 2 weeks
Yeah.
later, I'm like moving a clearance table off the sales floor,
Yeah.
and I scratched the top of the shoe with the leg of the
Oh.
table, and I
Oh.
look at the scar to this day. I was like mortified. It was the first white pair. I had black bread 11s. I had
Yup.
playoff 12s. That was the first white one, and it was like, oh, why you don't buy white shoes, dog? But I figured it out. We kept it moving, and
100%.
many sneakers later, that's the story about that Jordan 13. But it like
That's what's
it
up.
hurt my soul to see that scar on my right shoe. I even know what shoe it's on. But obviously we both live in Canada.
Yep.
It hasn't been the craziest winter. What we've got and kind of got a couple snowstorms. We've got a lot of rain, sleet, freezing rain. They're calling for tonight. So what goes into the winter rotation? Like, what shoes do you only wear because of the weather you can get here in either Toronto or definitely where you live now in Montreal?
So definitely the first right off the rip, my North Face and Vans collab, the Gore-Tex joints. Shout out to Foot Action. You already know we had to get clean with those. Man, when those came out, so practical, and because I always love Vans to this day. Man, those kicks, you definitely keep them in rotation. I wear those. My Air Force Ones, pair that I customized, white with the back check. I customized those, threw a little bit of paint on them. And then the last pair, what would be the last pair that I wear? I'd say I have a pair of Rick Owens boots, but I don't really wear those much. So honestly, I think between my Vans and those, my Vans and my Air Forces would be the top two shoes that I wear. I feel like there's one shoe that I'm forgetting.
Let it come to you. It will come to you
yes,
in due time.
My off-white dunks. My off-white
really
dunks.
So
yes.
that is really interesting, because much like myself, there's borderline almost no shoe that I won't wear a suede shoe in the rain, but outside that I will literally wear almost any shoe
100%.
despite in the winter. Like, some people are like, no, there's no chance that my off-whites or my Travis Scotts or whatever high energy heat you have, it's lost and found ones that are recently come out, or whatever that shoe may be, like MMA Gear 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, I'm not wearing those outside. Any of those, if those are in my collection, I'd wear them. I just wear them. Hey, you got to spray them. Maybe you got to pick the situation you're going to wear them, but shoes are meant to be worn. They're not trophies.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
That is my energy. Like, I got shoes and I wear them, like, because I ain't trading them and I ain't selling them. And no hate to anyone else that does that, but
100%
shoes are meant to be worn. You can't buy a shoe to think to go with a fit, and then you don't wear the shoe.
You don't wear them. It doesn't
because
make sense.
It's iced out in the box. You got to wear them joints.
Like, for me, it's and I'm so happy. I thought I was the only one that feels like this. Sometimes I'll wear certain kicks like, why are you wearing those? I'm like, because they're shoes. They're meant to be worn. That's what shoes are made for. And it's like, nah, man, you gotta respect your kicks. Then I'm like, oh man, I love the enthusiasm, but for me, like, it's like when I fell in love with Vans is because when you wear them, even when they're beat up, they're still tough. Like, I have a pair of all white Vans. I won't say that they're demolished, but they're beat up. And when I look at them, I'm like, yo, let me customize these. And it looks even better after the custom is made. So for me, I think it all depends. I think it all depends on everyone's taste, of course. But to just not want to wear kicks and just keep the collection. I mean, if you have the funds and the means to do it, hey, props to you.
Yeah.
But for me, it's part of my outfit. It's part of. There's only one shoe that I really don't wear, and it's my Barclays.
And
those
why is
kicks. That? Oh man, sentimental value.
Okay.
My twin brother gave me a pair when I was playing AAU. And I was playing with Corey Joseph, Tristan Thompson, all these different guys. And it was my first time wearing them. And then I don't know what happened. I don't know if I lost the pair or they got beat up, but I ended up finding a guy on Facebook Market that had them. So I bought them. I wore them maybe for a week playing basketball. And I was like, nah, these babies, you guys are going to sit in the corner. And they're still in mint condition. Like, it's so dope. So yeah, so I definitely understand there's some shoes that shouldn't even break into them, but then not ever wear them at all is just like, I don't know. It's not for
borderline
me.
Sacrilegious. I feel on PK, you know me, I feel a way about when we start talking
100%,
or we start talking about talk about sports or anything else. Like, I have an opinion, and I'm not
100%.
saying anyone's opinion is wrong. I'm just stating my opinion so you know where I stand. That's 100%. How I operate.
Nah, that's why I always respected you for that. 100%.
So listen, obviously, 2022 is behind us. don't, and everyone is different. Some people buy a lot of shoes. Some people will buy 2 shoes in a year. But is there any kind of highlights that you'd like to say that you picked up in 22 that you really something you had to pick up, or you were excited about some of the energy shoes that came out in 22?
So it's funny this year. Oh, you know what? I was gonna say I didn't cop any kicks this year, but it's not true. So I was fortunate enough. I had a friend who donated me some fire, fire Vans and Dime collab Vans. It's like it's almost like a, I don't even know how to explain it's almost like a it's a type of, it's a sky blue suede
Okay.
with a white Vans stripe and a gum bottom. It's such a beautiful shoe. There's that. I got a pair of North Carolina Dunks, the baby blue and white.
Yep.
Tough,
Yeah.
tough.
Fire.
In love with those shoes. There's that. There's also, if I'm not mistaken, I guess I don't know if I can count them as 2022 because they're going to be arriving in 23. But it's a pair of orange Dunks similar to the North Carolina ones. But it has, you know how bandanas, they have a certain design. I keep forgetting what the
Yeah.
name is for it, but it's all orange and
Okay.
they look crazy tough.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and
Okay.
then a pair of Yeezy foam runners, all white, and then yeah, this year I really slowed down on copying stuff just because I was trying to figure out where I wanted to implement for my style
Yep.
clothing wise, So, and I feel like I have enough kicks at this point, but let's be honest, you can never have enough. So, so like,
Factual facts right there.
no,
So
it's wild. So yeah, and I bought my girl some kicks too, like shattered backboards. Like I had a plug, so I shout out to him for real, for real. But yeah, so I always gotta make sure that if my feet are gonna look fly, like I gotta make sure like
yeah.
my ladies got some joints too, right?
Yeah.
So you know where I'm coming from. So
Totally,
straight
totally. You,
up,
you got to make it
hundred
sure that
percent.
but it's got to be her style. You can't like, I've learned in
Yeah,
time that you can't
yeah.
just like say, well, my style, you're just gonna wear it because I wear it. That don't fly. I've even learned
Hmm.
that with my daughter. My
Hmm.
daughter started off. I had shoes for her before there was even like even thoughts of having a child.
Yeah,
I had shoes, and not even like thoughts of having a child, because obviously I had to think about that. I wanted to buy kid
hundred
shoes.
percent,
I wanted to have a
hundred
child,
percent,
but
hundred
I got
percent.
on a thought process probably 20 years ago that I started buying
Yeah,
shoes. This is like, I'm gonna have a child, and whether
premeditated.
I either gonna adopt, or I will meet someone and we will have a child.
Yeah,
These are the shoes that the child will start to wear.
yeah,
Then the child, as it's happened now, my daughter has developed her own style. She wants to wear certain things certain
yep,
ways. So, hey, we all know, big into Jordan, love Nike.
yeah,
We'll wear New Balance, we'll wear Adidas.
yep,
But
yep.
my daughter, it's colorway and what it looks like. So some days it's Nike, other days it easily could be, if there was an amazing looking pair of Vans, she rocked these
Yeah,
pair of
she'll take it off.
SpongeBob's at one point. She's Puma shoes, that Cookie Monster Puma shoes. I remember I brought her to Foot
Oh
Action
yeah,
in
yeah,
those.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the brand doesn't matter to her. She likes what she does. My wife loves Adidas. She
Mm,
started at one point when we first met. It was all about Nike, and that's kind of fizzled away. And don't
yeah,
get me wrong, there's Nike shoes that are in the rotation, but
100%, 100%.
she gravitates to Adidas first and foremost. So it is what it is, and that's how kind of it rolls. So you kind of mentioned that bandana pair of Dunks that's orange. Is there any
Mm.
other shoes in 2013 that you're kind of, or
Oh man,
2023 you're looking forward to?
yeah. Honestly, I had taken notice of it's a pair of dunks. I think they're called the Pandas.
Yeah.
Like a pair of black white dunks. I think they're releasing January 19th, if I'm not
Yeah, for
mistaken.
the 18,000th time. It's released
I
so
know,
many
and it's
times, but
funny.
some people don't have them yet. Still,
That's what I saw. I said re-release. I'm like re-release. Like,
yeah,
okay, so these things came out, but um, and there's also shoes that. So how you want to say so? I have a plug who works with manufacturers who like helps them get a certain pair of shoes like in a limited amount, and so what he does is he'll send me like catalogs of shoes that are coming out. He's like, okay, this is when they're releasing. After they release, the manufacturers are gonna have pairs that they're not gonna sell. So you can, do this, and that. So for now, I think I really want to stack up on dunks. I don't know why I fell in love with dunks since maybe I'd say 2020. All right, sorry, 2021. But I just love dunks. I don't even have a specific type of dunk. If I can find Jordans, if by some crazy miracle I can find like infrared sixes, I'll
Okay.
settle for that. Like that is my favorite. Actually, I can't say it's my favorite Jordan shoe. My favorite Jordan shoe to play basketball in. But shoes, I just love classics. But I find now when the classics are being re-released, one, I feel they're being re-released too many times. They changed the material that was used, and then it gets the branding on it. I feel is which I what I admire is it's branded considering there's a new generation of sneakerheads building up.
Yep.
But then I feel like sometimes is it for sneakerheads or is it for hype beast for the idea of
I think
you can't
there's a combination of both of them, right? So
yeah, so I think there's that, but I do love that they I feel like companies have found a way to modernize the release of shoes that permits the OGs and the newcomers to kind of bridge a gap between, oh man, these actually released like back in '06 and
yeah,
this and that and this. So I think that's the discourse for that is more important. But yeah, I think this year I'm just looking forward to dunks. If there's anything else that pops in my eye, um, I think I'll be able to decipher that a little bit more. But we're on dunks. 2023, we on dunks. We
okay,
definitely gonna be on
fair
dunks.
enough. There would be lots of dunks that are out there. I think probably the model that I'm most excited about, just to see people wear it more than ever
Mm.
before, because there's more colors than ever before, is the Jordan 2. So last year was the 20th
Oh,
anniversary, or give or take, or 20 years, or it was actually, let me take that back. So it was 2022, the year of the Jordan 2, because we got
mm,
three twos in that year.
mm,
So they did an OG one, but now there's
yeah,
all of these collab ones that are coming, new colors that they've never released before. So I
yeah.
think that the Jordan 2, is it ever going to be the Jordan 1, the Jordan 4, the Jordan 3, or the
No,
Jordan 11? No. But
no.
there is a certain market,
It holds.
OG
Yeah,
market
yeah.
within that. So when Jordan 2 released on December 30th, there was
Mm,
a lot of people that had no interest, but there is a pocket of people that were like over the moon thrilled that they could buy the
yeah,
shoe. Like for some, they haven't been able to buy that shoe since 2004, because that was the last time
yeah.
a
Yup,
major release of the Jordan 2 came out in
yup,
that colorway. So
yeah.
I think there's going to be a run of Jordan 2s, and I'm a huge Jordan 2 fan, because most people, they talk one, and like they go 1, 3, and it's like, well,
And
what
it's
happened to
yeah,
the
they
two?
skip it
Just
100%.
totally skip it. It's like
It's so cool. Like,
it's like the
no, it's
black
true.
sheep of the, call it the low numbers. Like if we talk 1 to 6,
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
probably the last one that's mentioned.
yeah, for sure. I
So
mean, I
it's
see.
how it goes.
It's tough. It's tough because for sure, I completely forgot my twin brother. I think is the person I know. Well, probably the other person I do. People that do, but my twin brother, he has so many colorways of the Jordan 2. It's not
Yeah,
even funny. I remember he fell in love with I think they're called the OG Chicago Jordan 2s, the ones that
yeah,
re-released. And he used to play ball in them. And after, like as he got older and he started collecting them, he would wear one foot of one color and
yeah.
another shoe of another color. And I always thought that was sick. Like that was dope to me. So yeah, it's true. There's a huge clientele for. I think there's. It's. I feel like Jordan 2s are like the in hip hop the underground artists with a big fan base.
Yep.
You know
I
what I
could
mean?
feel
Like
you on that.
what's his name? I'm thinking about like a Tech 9 type guy, like
Yeah.
that shoe.
Because he's
It
definitely
kind
got a
of
following.
oh man,
He's not mainstream.
crazy following. Like, and there's a lot of artists like that, right? But some people don't want the limelight. But anyways, Jordan 2s, I'll personally, this is just me. I would pick Jordan 2s over Jordan.
Wow, that's a bold statement. That's a bold statement.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. I
that's why they don't make one shoe, because you got to like what you like.
yeah,
So
that's
that's how
true.
it goes.
That's 100%.
So let's play a game, as we love to play with people that love sneakers. So we're going to play a game called This or That. So I'm going to give you two
Okay,
styles of shoe.
okay,
You're going to pick one. and
Okay.
people will just get a feeling of what you like and don't like.
Okay.
So here we go. Air Max 1 or Air Max 90?
Air Max 90, and it's not even close.
Okay.
My gosh.
That's the Toronto speaking in you right now.
It's not even close. Jeez.
All right. Keep it moving. This is going to be more so rapid fire. Air Max 97 or Air Max 95?
95. All white.
Okay. Jordan 1 or Jordan 4?
Ah!
Dagger.
Oh, no.
Come on, you got to pick one.
Jordan 4, Jordan 4, Jordan 4.
Okay. Jordan 11 or Jordan 3? Okay.
Easy.
We will go the entire Barkley line or the entire Griffey line?
Come on, man. Oh, man.
It's a heavy hitter. There's not a wrong answer. So you got to pick a side, though.
Yeah, I'm going with Sir Charles. I'm going with Sir Charles.
Okay. So you've already mentioned Vans and a couple other brands. So we're gonna take a little bit of a left turn here. So Vans as a brand or Puma as a brand?
This guy is sick. This guy is actually sick. I'm gonna go with Vans.
Okay.
Christina, I'm so sorry.
We're gonna go with one more. We're gonna go Converse as a brand or New Balance as a brand. Okay. Yeah, New Balance I was on this renaissance right now. So
they're killing it, man.
Yep. Between the collabs and 990 and 550 and can't go wrong with 574s, and now you got just so many different ones that are hitting right now. New Balance is definitely making some movements right now. So you mentioned your wife and you mentioned your brother, but think about your other family members and you growing up. How big of an impact did sneakers have in your household?
Oh man, huge. We went to as a kids, we went to, we all went to the same school. And so, you go with all these different kids who, some of them have great sneakers, some of them don't. Some of them are aware of the sneakers they have, some of them don't. But I think my parents a lot. Every time someone got sneakers, everyone had to have sneakers. So I think we started off with the Air Forces, all whites, or you had the Air Forces with a different design. One of my younger brothers and my sister always were huge Adidas fans, so they had like the superstars. Fell in love with those, many different colors. And then as we moved into high school, we went to a school where it's uniform, so we couldn't just wear whatever we wanted. So we would mix in between Vans, mix in between Jordans, and then mix between Nikes. So we always had like a mix, and of course I can't forget even Adidas as well. But then as we got older, that's when everyone's shoe game just started going berserk. Like my sister I remember I'll never forget this. And I'm so happy I had a chance to work at Foot Locker because of that. But my sister, she has like she wears men's size shoes, right? So it was always hard for her to find shoes in her size and women's. And I remember buying her a pair of player edition Kobe 4s, I believe. And till this day, she has them. Like she loves them as kicks. So we all started like dabbling more, and we got into the Yeezys, got into the Nike. So it's very important. It's always been a topic of discussion. But I think the way our family's always done it is we've always admired that as integrated as they were in our style, we didn't have that overwhelmingly obsessive aspect of, yo, I gotta get these. Like, yo, can we get these? And I think that helped us build an appreciation for shoes as part of our love for fashion. Because if we didn't get it, it's not because we didn't want to, we just couldn't. You know what I mean? And so we learned to appreciate every time we bought a pair of shoes. Like, you had to know what you wanted. You can't just go in the store and be like, yeah, I want this. It's like we would go to the store, man, I can't wait till I can get these. Oh, I can't wait till I can get these. And then now you have the internet where you can just kind of see whatever options you want, right? So yeah, it's definitely part of. So we get to see him now. He's getting all the crazy kicks, and so it's cool. It's still something that's part of our family. Something that's definitely going to stay as part of our family as well.
So Dope. And it's so interesting now that you mention fashion. So I think we got to go there. So if you've ever met Patrik Kabongo, aka PK, you
Sure.
would say that this guy, I don't know, does he spend 24 hours a day shopping and putting his, it's not even so much shopping, but how you put together an outfit is like on another level. So where does you come up with your style? And I know you shop when you used to live in Toronto, you shop in all the spots on Queen Street,
100%.
but like
100%.
you have such an eye
Yeah.
of how to put an outfit together. And again, it doesn't
Yeah.
even need to be brand new. You can buy
100%.
it vintage, you can buy it, you can beat it up and then it actually look better than when it was brand new. So break it down for us. Break it down for us. OGs want to
Yeah.
know
Oh man.
how you
First
make it
off,
work.
I will say for sure, from a kick standpoint, I shout out, like I said before, OG Mac, OG, Jeff Wall, put me on a New Balance, um, Chalmers, like all these guys that schooled me on, yo, bro, you got to know these kicks. Like, how do you not know what these are? You know what I mean? And like when you work in a company like Foot Locker, not knowing, it's not like a sense of embarrassment, but it's like, damn, like that far back, like that's crazy. But when it comes to pieces, I just learned to have a very specific. I'm very attentive to detail. You know what I mean? And that's why I loved working at Foot Action so much because we would have moments where we would get pieces and it's like, whoa, like where did this come from? What brand is this? But I just learning on my peers, looking at how my peers would dress. Like for example, someone like Mackie James who has such a very specific style. A guy like Kevin Euchre, Kevin Ramos, uh, Lexia, like all these people that had these very, you could tell their style was either from something that they were inspired by or something that kind of just came to them daily. And for me, it was just if I could see this piece and not this entire outfit, what would I take from these people? So okay, maybe I'll take this oversized shirt, customize it. These oversized denims, customize them. And then as I started, getting more into fashion, I just realized my style is an accumulation of just various pieces that I like
Yeah.
that I think can stand out by themselves, and very minimalistic if that makes sense as well. Like
No,
I'm
it
not
does.
someone that's gonna have like big bold logos on, but I'm gonna have like little logos and or something that's huge on the back. And so I'd say mine is definitely a mix of streetwear and high fashion, but regular enough for the average person with an average budget to be able to still look fly, which is the most important part,
Yeah.
right? And so especially like in the industry that I'm in, dressing is I'd say like 25% the role, but you can tell when someone's dressed a certain way that's not authentic, and that's what bothers me. Like you can tell someone just wore something because they were told to wear it,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like it doesn't give off the same impression as someone with a regular fit because they have the confidence to wear it. So yeah, I'd say that's pretty much me in terms of like my fit inspo, if I could say that.
Fair enough. That's some great insight. So obviously you live in Montreal now, so
Yeah.
I could guess the spots that you would have hit here in Toronto. But where do you now shop in Montreal? I know you
So
mentioned earlier. You mentioned Diamond. I know that's a really nice
yeah,
brand that's out
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Montreal. I'm sure
Mhm.
you got some connects with Le Cartel, but where are some of the other spots that you hit in Montreal?
So I've been trying. So for sure, Dime is a place that I hit up. OTF is another spot. Um, what else? There's a shop. It's like a consignment shop. At an area on what's the street called on St. Catharines in Peel, and they have like a consignment shop up there. So I haven't been shopping in stores as much as I want to. I've been really huge on buying brand like products from people that I know that have brands
Yeah.
just to support my community, build my community. But I've been shopping a lot, like at Essence. I've been shopping as well with some new companies that I've been introduced to from LA, from New York, and now I'm just trying to. I have also my friend's clothing. It's called Where's Your Love, which is like it's actually like recycled clothing that he's
Yeah.
making, which is very innovative. And yeah, so a lot of my pieces are like, and kind of goes back to what I was saying, right? Like I won't go to one place and just buy a whole bunch of stuff. Like I kind of go around the internet looking up people. Sometimes I just go on Instagram and look up like people's brands. I'm like, okay, cool. This I identify with this. Oh, 100% cotton, sweet. Like get this, get this, get this, and then I get to put everything else together. So far, though, the company I've been shopping with the most that's consistent is called Minimal. It's like a
Okay.
company from LA. They make, I think they make the best denim. The only problem is you guys got to get that sizing stuff correct, man. But other than that, I think that the denim, cargos, sweats, all of it, they got that pat. And then obviously, I got to shout my boy Void. I got the Void
Oh, no
sweatpants
doubt.
on right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They can't see it, but I got the Void sweatpants on right now. So I definitely like anything that's close to my community. I'm always gonna try to support and rock that. And obviously, I got the hijack hat right now. Shout out to my man's Jack. And yeah, I always try to wear. Just trying to style my. I just want to style my clothing to my liking rather than just getting like big brands that
Yeah.
will just catch people's eye.
That's why we call you the people's champ, right? So you support the people.
100%. Shout out the Rock.
So I know you mentioned so many different brands, big and
Mhm.
small, but is there, you message the LA brand, I think you called it was Essence. Um
Yes.
is so what would be a couple of your favorite brands? Like you kind of the ones you always kind of gravitate back to. And it doesn't need to be any of the big ones either.
No, 100%. So I definitely gotta go with Dime.
Okay.
Oh man, Carhartt. I fell in love with Carhartt last year. That's a brand I've fallen a lot. If I can say anything of like a major brand of clothing that I have a lot in my closet,
Yeah.
Carhartt's number one. I love the whole idea of they have this thing called work in progress, and I think I just fell in love with that idea with the clothing and stuff. So definitely Carhartt as well. Um, I feel like I'm slowly falling in love with North Face. I'm not. I kind of got to dabble with that a little bit more, and see what else they have to offer because they're such a technical and like utility type of company.
Yeah.
If it's not for the 300 coat, I don't really know outside of that. Like I have a couple of pants from North Face in my closet from vintage shops, but I still have to kind of dabble with them a little bit more. There's also a brand called This Is Never That. I believe they're from LA as well. I like the fit and the design on their hoodies. I know Nike's one, of course, just for when it comes to shoes and all these different things. But other than that, I think those are the brands that have to put up at the forefront, like Carhartt, Dime, and Nike. Yeah, I think those are the three that I'd be rocking with the most. And then, like I said, other brands that are like more house based, where they're smaller. Um, but yeah, those are definitely the ones that I'd go with for sure.
Okay. Okay. Those are some good ones. Those are some good ones. A little dabble of each.
Foundational,
So
100%.
yes, foundational pieces, but again, there's a lot of splash that goes along. If you're gonna have to share some pictures. So when we put
Oh
together your
man,
Instagram
I
reel
got you.
and
I
and
got
do a
you.
little advertising for this pod, you're gonna have to show some people some fits.
I got you 100%.
So what would be as we kind of wrap up the fashion as we're on the home stretch of the pod here today?
Mm,
Again, thanks for everyone listening on Sneaks Rhymes in Life. You can find us on, or, you'll definitely get, we have an Instagram page. You definitely can
100%.
find us on iHeartRadio, Google, Spotify, and obviously Apple. And then this will be uploaded to YouTube as well. But what would you say is the
Mm.
trend that you foresee coming in 2023 when it comes from a fashion sense?
All right. Well, I would say this is a trend that's kind of been starting from mid 2021, maybe 2020. Baggy jeans are gonna come back in style, and
Yep.
not the classic baggy jeans. Like I think they're gonna be overly excessively baggy.
We're
I
already seeing
think
that with cargos.
exactly. Yes, perfect. Um, so I definitely the pants, and I mean just pants first as a thing. I think pants are gonna be a lot more baggy. It might be transformed where the pants are almost like elephant pants, but more stylish. And I think you've probably seen it a lot with like in hip hop now, where the pants kind of feel like they're a little bit tight from the waist to the knee, and then from the mid calf down, it starts opening up a little bit more. So
Yeah.
the cuff starts going over the shoe, and people believe that it looks better. I think it's subjective, obviously, because fashion is subjective. But the oversized pants is going to come back. Even sorry, not come back. The oversized pants is going to become a thing. The oversized hoodie is going to become a thing, and almost to the point where people are not even going to kind of put their hands out the rib cuff. They're just going to keep their hands over where the sleeves pull out. And I'm sure you've seen that.
Good news that I didn't get rid of even my double X hoodies from 2000, 2001, 2002. They all coming back.
It's crazy because I've always had this. My style started off as oversized tops and fitted bottoms, and now I kind of like throw it all over and mix it all up sometimes.
Yeah.
If you gotta go for a classy look, you're going to go fitted all the way. The baggy is not coming out, or depending if you have like a baggy suit. So, anyways, there's that, and I think people are going to start accessorizing a lot more. Like we saw that in 2000, I think 2019, 2020, you saw people wearing a lot of rings. Like even men started wearing a lot more rings. I think this year is going to get it's going to go to a higher level, and I think you're going to see a lot of outlandish fits.
Okay.
Like close to almost like nudity, but just dabbling on it. Just but fashion has always been that, right? Like it's almost, I don't want to say repulsing. I think that would be the worst term to use, but it's almost like it catches your eye, but it provokes you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I would totally agree with you.
Right. But I also believe that there's a difference between being stylish and having great fashion sense. Because sometimes, like you can think, when I look at, and I've had the chance to build a relationship with personal stylists. When I look at the stylist and I look at how they make the person dress, it is like two different extremes. So you have to ask yourself, is this person dressing this person because they think it'll look better on them, or is it subconsciously them vicariously living through this outfit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it becomes, if it's a woman styling a man or a man styling a woman, where do you draw that line? So I think people need to, like a lot of people wear big brands, like Amiri jeans, no disrespect to Amiri. Like if you wear Amiri, like Balenciaga, Louis V, all these different things, and then they think they have style, and it's like, no, you're just buying designer clothing. There's a huge difference, right? So I'd say that we're gonna get to really see that, I think, in 2023 moving forward, to see who actually has style, fashion sense, and who just has a big budget. So we'll see how that goes.
Wow, this guy's dropping gems about fashion, right? So love to hear it. Love to hear it. So hey, I probably got one more question for you. So what would be the fashion piece if you could go into the time capsule and pull it out? And it could be from the 90s, could be from the 80s, but what is the fashion piece that you're going to pull out and make it relevant in 23?
Dude, that's so crazy. I want to say, well, I feel like it's already popular now, but I would love to make I think it's balaclava.
Yeah.
That is maybe not the same mesh or, material, but a similar one to the Wu-Tang Max in the Wu-Tang video and the Art of Shadow Boxing.
Oh, so like the one that Ghostface wears.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I would want to take that, and modernizing it sounds like it's taken away from it, but I would really want to take that mask and just do like a crazy design and just like really small slits, because a lot of people now they love wearing the face masks, right? But there's always this weird thing where it's like they keep it over and they keep it under here. It's like it's just, and then you wear it and then you put a hat over it. Like I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Yeah. And that's okay. Like y'all do what y'all want to do, but that mask like that, man, that piece of, and it's technically it's an accessory, right? But that is foundationally unreal, like sensational as a piece. And I would love to bring that back, because everything else I feel is already bringing it back. Like I could say starter jackets.
Yeah, overalls are coming back because I've been rocking overalls even. Jeez.
Man, No, 100%. I was gifted when I was sponsored by them a G Star full denim, raw denim, full jumpsuit. Like I love overalls,
Yeah.
love them. But I feel like even that, people are kind of bringing it back here and there. So I would go with that piece, that mask right there. Gang, too tough.
Fat. That's dope. So PK, again, so appreciate you for being on the pod.
Shout out Big Mac, OG Mac in the cut.
We have to give you a fat, swollen shout out for being on the pod. You're the first one to get one of those in all the guests that I've had. So big ups to you. But people are going to ask, it's like, wow, this was an amazing interview. Just getting to know this guy. And this guy's got so many chambers. How do we find you on Instagram?
From videos to social media, just type in X10PK, all one word, and tap in with me. Shout out to my man Mac for having me on the podcast. You guys don't, when you guys hear it, see it, you guys will see how happy I am to be here, because this is someone who shaped an important part of my life. So, man, thank you so much for having me on the show to, talk rhymes, life, and sneakers, man. And I can't wait, like in a year, 2 years from now, come back for the anniversary episode.
Yeah,
we are popping. You know what I'm saying? So you guys make sure you guys tap in, follow, drop a comment, share. Make sure you guys just take part in engaging with what my man is doing, because it's important for the culture. 100%.
Yeah, it's for the culture, but I also love these things. Like this is now coming up on 2 years since this podcast started. It's like 110 episodes now deep. We've had big artists, small artists, people that just do their thing in their community, create their own clothing line, dance, DJ, like all these types of things. But it's because I love these things, and these things are important to myself and how it shaped me as a human being. And this is a wave that I found during the pandemic and 3 lockdowns, and this is a way for me to engage and just express thoughts. So this is just lots of things that, in my world, sometimes it's hard to get stuff off my chest because I'm doing so many things for other people, and trying to be a good father and a good husband and so many other things. And this is just my way. This is my outlet, as I call it. And
100%.
I just love what I do. It is not about money. It's not about, I don't make a dime off this thing. I think eventually someone's going to pick this up and say, this is a great idea.
100%.
You need to do this permanently. Someone told me the other day that I need to have my own masterclass and I need to have a side hustle and all these things. But this is something that I genuinely love doing, and having people like you that I get to engage with and have a lot of fun. When people see this on YouTube, they will see that I truly enjoy this, because I've been smiling for probably the last hour and a half because it's been so fun. So
100%.
Thank you everyone for listening. PK, thank you so much. Much love to your wife and the fam. And we didn't even get into the twin brother, because that's a whole nother. We can make a whole episode just about the twin brother. Maybe the twin brother needs to be on with you, and we could chop it up that way. But again, much appreciated, much love. Wish you all the success in the world. And again, thank you for being on the pod. But thank you everyone. Any last words, PK, before we sign off?
Be thankful, be patient, and never underestimate a good thing not happening when you want it. That's what I would say.
Those are big words to sign off. So thank you everyone. Much appreciated. Catch this pod and all the other ones again on Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, it's available. It also will be uploaded to YouTube. So for now, peace, we out.